Hello, my name is Tony. Today we're going to learn the grammar from Unit 4, Embedded Questions. We're going to learn their purpose, form, and common mistakes. But first, let's take a look at a video of two students, Matt and Sohee.
Hi, I'm Sohee. What's your name?
I'm Matt.
What are you doing?
I'm studying
What are you studying?
history.
Is history your major?
No.
Do you have a class later today?
You know what? I should study, so bye.
So what went wrong? Sohee wanted to talk to Matt, but Matt didn't want to talk to Sohee. Sohee's pronunciation was right, and her grammar wasn't wrong. Why didn't Matt want to talk to her? The reason is Sohee's grammar wasn't wrong, but she used the wrong grammar. She asked basic questions. Sometimes basic questions can be offensive or rude or even intrusive, especially if you don't know someone well. That's the purpose of embedded questions. They make questions less offensive and less rude. So they're more polite, less intrusive, and they often soften a question to make it not as intrusive to the people you're talking to. Let's look at the form. First, you have a regular question, such as, is history your major? Do you have class later today? Now you have to change those questions into a normal word order. So, history is your major, or you have class later today. Now, you have to add an if or a whether in front of that part. Finally, you need to add a stem in front of those parts. So you can combine them however you want. You can say something like, I'd like to know if history is your major, or tell me if history is your major, or could you tell me whether you have class later today? You can combine them however you want. You'll notice most of those questions were simple yes or no questions. There are also WH questions. WH questions are questions that have what, or who, or when, or where. Those are made slightly differently. So we have basic questions like, so he said, what's your name? What are you doing? What are you studying? To make those an embedded question, you have to change them again to normal word order. What your name is. What are you doing? What you are studying. You don't add an if or a whether. Instead, just add the stem on the beginning. Something important to notice is some stems turn the question into a statement, meaning they're not a question anymore. For example, tell me what your major is. It's got a period, not a question mark, at the end. Another one is, I'd like to know, or I wonder. Other stems keep the question mark. Could you tell me where the bathroom is? Sometimes we can use infinitives in embedded questions. An infinitive, as a reminder, is just to plus the base form of a verb. For example, to play or to cook. Infinitives are used to express possibility or advice. So, we have a sentence like, I don't know where I can get that food. We can use an infinitive like this. I don't know where I get that food. Take out the I can and add a to. I don't know where to get that food. That means, where is it possible to get that food? Or where do you suggest I get that food? Can, could, and should can use infinitives instead and keep the same meaning. Another example. Some common mistakes students often make. The wrong word order. Sometimes they will switch the subject and the verb and keep it like a question. So for example here, can you tell me if are we late? That's not correct. Switch the subject and the verb. Another common mistake is punctuation. Sometimes people forget to change the question mark to a period. Common stems. These are often used a lot. I don't know. I'd like to know. Let me know. I can't remember. Let's ask. I wonder. I'm not sure. Can you remember? Could you explain? Would you mind telling me? My personal favorite is I was wondering. I was wondering is a very common one and it's very useful. I say that a lot. To be more polite, you can use would, could, and can. Can is the least polite. Could is more polite than can, and would is even more polite than those two. Also, in English, a common rule is the longer a sentence or question is, the more polite it is. So for example, tell me is very short. That's not very polite. Can you tell me is more polite because it's longer. If you change the can to a could you tell me, now that's even more polite. If you change it again, using would and make it long, like would you mind telling me, now this is a very, very polite question. Let's review what we learned today. The structure of an embedded question is first you have the stem. The stem, for example, is something like, I was wondering, or could you tell me? Next, add if or whether for a yes or no question, and then use the regular word order for the sentence. Don't use question word order. Next, I was wondering is a very common, polite, and useful stem. Making stems use would or longer makes them more polite. Now, let's take a look at Sohee and Matt one more time. This time, Sohee is going to use embedded questions and be polite and talk to Matt. Let's see if Matt wants to talk to her this time.
Hi, my name is Sohee. Could I ask what your name is?
I'm Matt.
I wonder what you're doing.
I'm studying.
Would you mind telling me what you're studying?
Not at all. I'm studying history.
Can you tell me whether history is your major?
No, it's not, but I like it.
I was wondering if you have a class later today.
No. Do you want to get dinner together?
Great!